Well, Mr. Childers, thank you for joining us for Mega Conversation.
Right on. I'm happy to be here.
I know you are not a man short on inspiration, but a lot of this conversation is going to kind of center around where inspiration comes from, whether you're a musician or a painter. But particularly, we're going to dial in on where the inspiration came from for this song after you saw Pete's painting. But if you
Yeah.
could, just take a brief moment and introduce yourself. Tell us
My,
who you are and where you are and what you do.
my name's David Childers, and I live in Blueberry Hill, North Carolina. And I reckon I'm an artist. I paint pictures and I do other stuff too. I play music, so I'm a musician, and I'm a husband and a father and a mule. I do a lot of mule work around here, but so I'm a I don't really leave the house very much, and that's because of the pandemic. But I was a lawyer for 35 years, and I got out of that. Um, and this is what I do now, just full time an artist.
It's a good life.
Oh yeah, I'm not complaining.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't hear
very
it.
happy.
That sounds pretty fantastic.
Now my wife complains. She's like, "When the hell are you gonna leave the house?" No, seriously, we get along very well. So it is a good life. I feel, I'm 69 years old, and one thing I'm just glad that I'm alive because when I was in my 20s, I didn't think I'd make it past 30.
Isn't that
Very
how a lot of us kind of had that same feeling?
Well, death is so romantic to the very young.
Yeah.
And, but it's good to be alive, and I enjoy every minute of it.
All right. And then, Pete, would you introduce yourself? Because you're in a different role for this one.
Yeah. Normally, I am sitting side by side with Molly as more of a moderator on this. And for this one, I kind of reached out to David and asked if he saw any paintings on the website that might inspire a song. Never dreaming that Mr. Childers would pick one of mine, and incredibly happy that he did. Incredibly honored that he did. And I've heard snippets of what he's done, and I feel like I can check off a big box of things in my life that's just really excited about it, what he's done with it. And, so it's nice to kind of sit on this side and see where it goes.
All right. So, David, if you could, I'm going to ask you to tell us the story about what happened when you saw Pete's picture. Why'd you pick that one? And just take us from the moment that inspiration struck to where you went from there. What happened?
Well, I got Pete's email about looking at getting musicians to look at the art on the mega site, and I looked at everything, and there's some really good art on there, and I was interested and drawn and inspired by all of it. But there's two figures of a man and a woman. I've done similar pictures myself, but looking at them, I saw a relationship. Well, they weren't just figures; they were people, and they had stories, inside those shapes of the people, and that's how I saw it. And I think Pete he may have thrown me a couple lines to start it off with. I don't quite remember.
Because at one point, I think when you, I don't think I threw you any lines with it.
Oh, I started with She Was From Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there's too many songs with Baton Rouge. So I changed it to Shreveport.
Yeah.
And they don't get enough attention down there. And, you know, these stories, like the guy works at a nursing home, they're in a bus station. When I was a young guy, I was in bus stations a lot. I used to ride the bus a lot down to Columbia, South Carolina from Charlotte, back and forth. My brother was in school down there, and it was big time for me. And then, of course, in college, going from Chapel Hill to Charlotte, I rode a lot of buses, and when I was in bus stations, so, you know, I would notice people in there and kind of imagine their stories. And, you know, life is, if you're lucky, it's long, and you don't have to do anything that remarkable or have anything that exciting happen to you. These people just fell in love, and that was all they needed, you know, to sustain them until the very end. That's kind of the point of it, that, you know, if you find love and you find a person that you can stay with, that's a very special thing that's worth writing about.
David, because you said love, how many songs have been written about love? No, how often would you say love inspires you to write a song?
Not as much as it used to, quite frankly. You know, I don't know what inspires me now. More imagery, I think. And but yeah, I mean, I've been writing songs for a long time. You know, like, I don't know, 50 years. And when I was younger, I did write a lot of love songs, and I'm sure I have now. But it's just, love is part of a bigger picture and a bigger story often.
Yeah, yeah. I thought there was sorry, Molly, there was something really interesting that happened when you wrote the song, and it made me wonder if there's like a common spring that some of this comes from, because you included Atlanta and you included a retirement home.
Oh, yes.
Song. And I grew up in Atlanta, and I worked at a retirement home for 4 years.
That's weird.
I thought, man,
there's something cosmic going on here.
Yeah. So I don't know if you and I had somehow tapped into the same thread or what happened there, but
that's very interesting. That really
that was cool. That was really cool.
But I just saw these two people, you know, they're just regular, you know, working folks. You know, people who had to get up and go out and work every day and suffer and triumph.
I'm curious, did you notice the third eye on both of them?
No, I didn't. Maybe that's why I picked up on the nursing home and
that's right
in Atlanta, you know. I didn't notice that. I'll go back and look. I wonder how I missed that.
So when you do get an idea for a song, for this song, did you just sit down and just write it? It literally does seem though like there's a switch that just flips for you and it just comes out. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. That's true. And it's like a dam building up. There's this water builds up behind it, and then at some point, when I feel it's right, I hit that switch. I don't know what it's going to be. Completely unpredictable. I don't even know how much it has to do with me. It's just like, I feel a lot of times like I'm channeling something. But it's not, you know, once I start writing, it usually tends to flow out like that. I do believe in revising, and I'm pretty hard on myself, you know, as far as wanting it to be the best it can be. I used to think writing songs, you could be sloppy and just say stupid stuff, and you can, but that's just not the kind of song I want to write. I want to, and that's not the kind of songs I admire. I admire, writers like Dylan or Tom Waits, who, although he's more repetitive, or Towns Van Zandt or Joni Mitchell, that have more stories and use more language, a little richer language. So, it's kind of like I just jump in a river, to reference Joni Mitchell, and float with it, and then I come out. It's kind of like there's a point where I'm like, okay, that's it. I let it sit for a while, and then I usually come back and approach it differently. But if I feel like I'm having to really work real hard on writing it, I get the feeling, maybe it's just not right. This isn't the right one.
Are you painting more or writing songs more these days?
Actually, I'm painting more these days. And just because it's more profitable. It's like I do streaming shows on Facebook twice a week. Well, actually 3 times a week. 2 of them are for me, and one of them is for St. Jude. That's on Sunday mornings. But I'm not going out, playing in, venues like I was. Like I was doing it anywhere from 2 to 5 days a week, and so I've got a lot of time to spend painting. And frankly, I just love doing it. It's very physical. I do it on my standing up out outside, and it just feels so good. Just putting things together and watching images emerge from paint. It's and I got a lot of scrap wood around here now because we just got through putting a new floor in our living room. So there's some pieces laying around that I'm using. But I'm painting a lot. And I don't write that much. But I will. I mean, I'll hit a spell where 5 or 6 songs happen. Bam, bam, bam. But I write stuff down, and I'll go back and look at it with a guitar in hand and see if something will happen. And fortunately now, I probably get maybe 10 or 12 songs a year.
Wow.
That I will play,
Right.
There's a lot of them.
One a month, though. That's almost one a month. That's pretty great.
Well, I guess it's all right.
Yeah.
You do 6 of them in 1 week, and then another, 6 months later, you do some more.
Yeah.
I don't worry about it though. It's like I can turn painting into money, which I need to live on, and music. I can make some income off of that too, but not like when I was able to go out and play live, and that was starting to really get to be something pretty dang good. And I'm hoping it will be again.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear that very often, that you can turn painting into money. That doesn't work for a lot of people.
No, you don't. I didn't say how much money.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good though. I gotta say.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I was just wondering, where does inspiration come from when you paint, David?
I don't know. I was just standing out here looking at a big piece of wood that I got primed up. It's about 4 feet wide and 2 feet tall, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do here? And I just don't know yet. And I'll look at some. I take photographs. My wife takes really good photographs, and I will go look at images like that and see if something sticks with me. Something will come to me. I just a lot of times I just start throwing the paint down and see what happens.
Do you sketch before you do it, or do you just
Very,
take?
very seldom. Very seldom.
You do seem to, in some of the paintings years that I've seen, history seems to play a big part. Kind of pull from an event.
Yeah, well, it's I like to do figurative paintings, and so the event itself may be a pretense for that. But yeah, I mean, I've done some pictures of battles,
Yeah.
which I guess kind of childish, but I am kind of childish. But there's some like last year I read a book about sea battles around Guadalcanal between the Japanese and Americans, and it was just horrendous, but amazingly written. It's a book called Neptune's Inferno. But I came away reading about this, this one battle that was at night, and the imagery was so sharp in my mind that I had to paint it as best I could. But it's just interesting to me to paint people, musicians, or even like people who have animal heads, skulls. I've done most of the skeletons people ask me to do them, and I enjoy doing that. But I guess I'm just better at that than something I guess you'd call abstract, or I think there's a certain level of impressionism in it. But I'm also influenced a lot by movies. I've always loved movies, and there's like iconic images. I hate to overuse that word, but there are images that are just so powerful from films. It may not be the most well-known thing, but the composition of shots, and that's all very interesting to me. So I guess I'm just drawn to painting people and events.
And then as far as influences, you mentioned movies and people and musicians, but are there any other abstract painters that you would say inspire you? Or
well, my main inspirations were like Bruegel, and looking at the detail in that and the way he painted people, and there's all these stories going on. There's a poem by W.H. Auden, Museum of Modern Art, I think that's what it is, in Paris. And he talks about how, the old masters, they always understood that there was this big picture, but there are these little stories going around in it. I find Rembrandt very interesting because of the way he used darkness and shadow. And of course, Van Gogh, people like that. But I'll tell you the truth, I go to doctors' offices. I have to go periodically, and I sit there looking at the art on the walls. I learn from that. I get inspired by, I don't even know who the hell painted it, but put me in a museum, and I'm in heaven. And I may not know who the artist is, but ever since when I was in college, I started going to art museums and just, walk through and look at the stuff. And it was pretty amazing to me to have that available. But I learn from anything I look at. Anytime I look at a painting or a photograph, even, I'm looking at how the images are created with shading or with colors. I don't get very bored, though.
doesn't sound like it. Well, so I guess since you wrote a song about a painting that Pete did, I really wondered, Pete, if you can tell us the story about where that painting came from. Where the two people come from. Why do they have three eyeballs?
Yeah. They kind of spring out of doodles. I have endless doodles of people with many, many eyeballs. 3 eyeballs is actually kind of a low number for me. But so it's 2 canvases, and it was definitely important that there be an understood relationship between those 2 people, and David picked up on that they were a couple, and they are kind of different from everyone else and found each other, and that is a beautiful thing in and of itself. The eyeball thing, as far as where that comes from, eyes are just something I have been fascinated with for a long time. I've had issues in the family with eyes, and just learning a lot about eyeballs and how intricate, and it is amazing that any of us can see anything. And then, you know, add to that the third eye, which those 2 characters have, being able to see past the physical world. And that's kind of where they came from. And there's that little aura around them. I think David picked up on that. Yeah, so I think it's just a freeze frame of 2 happy people.
That is pretty fascinating that that's kind of what David also wrote the song about. Did you all
Yeah.
talk about that or not?
No.
That is wild, especially with him picking up Atlanta and a retirement community.
Something in the ether.
How long
Did
did
they
it?
smoke?
What's that?
Did they both smoke?
Maybe that's the aura. I don't know.
I don't know where that came from. I never was a good cigarette smoker.
But Pete, so you talked kind of generally about how you get inspiration. So for this specific painting, it was the same thing, just it sprang from a doodle, or
somewhat. So they're smaller canvases, and if I have a larger canvas and I first walk in the studio, sometimes I could be a little timid before I jump straight onto the big canvas. So I'll keep smaller ones around. And that has become very freeing because I'm walking up to it and I'm not, maybe I don't have specific intentions, and it gives me a certain amount of freedom to make mistakes and to just slap some paint around. So with those, that's what those are. Those are kind of 2 empty canvases that then became more than just a warm up. So yeah, they were kind of born on accident.
And then, you know, do you get stuck with painting? Like, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm not like David. I can't just, when I hear that he sits down and just writes 5 songs, that's, what I will do with a painting is I will feel like I'm not stuck, and I will crank out 2 foot by 3 foot painting and be really happy with it, and then come back the next day and look at it, and it's just like, what? Wow, that's a lot of wasted paint right there. That's a lot of wasted paint. And then just gesso over the whole thing and start over. But that's very much become part of the process. There might be one element in that painting that I keep. You know, it could be something really small, and then I'll paint around that element. And then maybe I come in the next day and don't like that, so I white out again, but keep another element. And then slowly I get to somewhere where I am happy with the painting.
Do you listen to music while you paint?
Yeah, I can't imagine painting without music, honestly. And it's, if I know what I'm going to paint, I can almost pick the music that will help me. If I'm doing detail work, it'll be something a little more chill. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Likey Lee or Likey Lai is a great detail work kind of music to play in the background, or the Felice Brothers. I listen to a lot of Felice Brothers in the studio. And then if I know I'm doing bigger areas, bigger brush strokes, I'll go more into like Idols or Rancid or Pixies, something heavier. So yeah. And then if I happen to have it on shuffle and I'm doing detail work and something really energetic comes on, then the whole thing just goes to hell.
What were you listening to when you painted these guys, these two guys?
That was probably the Felice Brothers. And if you listen to them lyrically, Ian Felice to me is just lyrical genius, and it's incredibly visual. And yeah, I think they sprang up directly out of that music.
Yeah, and then what about your influences? Are there any specific influences of yours that are showing up in this painting, or just influences of yours in general?
I think I'll go kind of what David said, where you can kind of pull influence from everything, walking around outside, colors. I also do a fair amount of photography stuff, and I've had a friend tell me, like, Pete, somehow you take pictures of things that I see every day, but you take it in a way that makes it, turns it into like a special object. So I think I kind of walk around constantly looking at things a little bit different.
What does that mean?
Mama always said I was special. I don't know. I guess I also went to school for sculpture, so I'm always thinking like, well, what is behind that thing, and what's going to happen when the sunlight hits it from over there, and what's I guess I'm not just looking at it, I'm looking at everything around it and how they relate and things like that. Relationships between the things.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that sculpture shows up in your painting? That sculpture experience?
I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does. I've never actually thought about that. It definitely shows up in my day job doing lighting on stage. I mean, to me, that's the band is one big moving sculpture.
See, but that seems to me like that's painting with light, though. You know, that's actually not what I thought you would say at all. But I guess the band is the sculpture,
yeah.
And you're moving the lights around them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and the lights can become really sculptural too, depending on like the beam size. They can become almost architectural. You know, they can become an object of themselves, to themselves. So painting up, it's not apparent to me that sculpture has influenced the paintings.
Mm-hmm. And then do you hear stories of the characters that you paint? Kind of like, do you start to build a narrative for them when you're creating something?
Absolutely, yeah. I use a lot of my paintings are just I give them a name, like the ones that David has. That's Claudelle and Ennis, and a lot of my paintings have very specific name because they are a character with specific traits to me. Now, it's not important to me that the viewer knows all those traits. I'd rather them assign their own.
I'd love to know who you think these two are, or who these two are.
it's bizarre because David really picked up on it. I mean, I do feel like they're kind of outsiders that happen to find each other. So somehow between my paintbrush and his guitar, it worked.
What about the names? Those names. Where do those names come from?
I love old Southern names. Claudelle and Ennis. Like, do you know anyone named Claudelle and Ennis? I wish I did, you know.
That's a new one on me.
I feel like you would know someone, David.
Claudette. Now I know Claudette's, but
I know
yeah,
a Welldine. A Welldine.
Welldine?
Welldine and a Waynette.
I like it. That might be the next painting.
Yeah. So I wonder for the both of you, if by getting in this process, if it's changed anything about maybe how you might try to approach a new idea, or has it sparked anything for you?
You mean talking about this?
Yeah, you know, just having somebody reach out and saying, hey, look through these paintings and write a song. Like, just curious.
Oh, no. I feel like it opened up. You know, it just made me realize that, you know, there are ideas from songs if you go just looking for them. You know, a lot of times I'll wait on it to come to me. I really don't know that I've ever done that before. I took a painting somebody did and wrote a song about it, but I'll probably be doing more of it, actually.
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't done it yourself, quite frankly. That's really curious to me.
Well, I can take that back. There's a song called Run Skeleton Run. Matter of fact, it's a album we did a few years ago, but I painted this big picture. It's on a big piece of plywood, and it's a skeleton, real crude and but crazy looking, and I wrote Run Skeleton Run. I don't know why I did that, but I said that might make a good song. You know, I went down and wrote the song. So I actually have done that before, but not very often.
I used to, it's definitely helped me to remember. I used to just grab a lyric. One lyric would just hit me, and that would turn into a painting. And I've fallen away from that quite a bit and haven't done it in a while. So this has kind of been a slap upside the head, like, hey man, come on, remember that used to work pretty well for you. Go explore that again. So yeah, I'm already hearing when I'm listening to music, lines are already popping out at me again. I can't wait to see where it goes.
You could do a series of pictures about Claudette and Ennis.
Whole life, yeah.
I mean, really?
The grandchildren.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Ennis's funeral.
Ennis Jr.
His funeral.
The song? Have you finished the song, David?
I feel like it's finished. You know, it's just what it is.
Yeah. What is the story? So they leave from Shreveport, right?
Yeah, it's just they actually they're in Texarkana. She went from I drove through there once real fast. And but you know, they hook up there, and then they live their life together, and it's real happy. And you know, she picks flowers and makes a pretty home, and they're real happy with each other. And then that lasts until one night Ennis dies. Mm. And that's just how life is if you're lucky.
Mm.
I will have to paint them in their old age, I think. That's what I'll do. When you're done with the song, I'll pull a painting out of the song.
Okay. I think that'd be interesting. I think, like I say, you could do a series of it.
Yeah. And then you can do a song out of that painting, and then I'll do a painting out of that song. And then we can do a song.
This could go on and on.
I love it.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Nice.
Could be an album, you know.
You
If we even do such things as that anymore, it's kind of questionable how all that's going to be done.
What do you think's going to happen when this is all over?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering when it's going to be over. It's kind of frustrating, but I think we might learn something from this. I'm an optimist, and I'm seeing a lot of people change their attitudes toward what you got to have and what you don't really need, and you know, maybe a wiser way to live where we're all the things I'm hearing right now that are coming out of the new administration. It's like awareness of the environment and taking care of climate change, or trying to, and you know, new ways of living, new ways of fueling this economy, and you know, that I think are pretty hopeful. But I've been looking for that to happen for 50 years, and a lot of it has. I mean, but it's by far, hell, I'm not a seer. You know, I don't have any idea what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of crazy, really evil stuff going on too, and we're at the end of something and the beginning of something else. But hell if I know, you know, how to classify it. I just know I want to be in it. I want to be doing it, and I'm not going to be sitting on my butt. I'm going to be active, and you know, hope that my health holds up so that I can do that.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
Sure. Is there anything else, Pete, that you wanted to ask, or?
No, I think we should definitely get together again, right, and hear this song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd play it for you right now if you want.
I want.
Okay.
I will.
Awesome.
I had prepared. I hope I don't mess it up.
Just happen to have a guitar right there.
Just happened.
I'll keep one strapped to me. Claudette took the bus. I'm sorry, I messed her name up. Claudelle took the bus from Schroth to find a new life somewhere in Atlanta. She met Ennis in the Greyhound station, switching buses for Texarkana. He was just off work from the nursing home. They were both drinking coffee quite alone. She caught his eye and he offered her a smoke. And that was so very long ago. Claudelle, if the next bus passerby, she realized she truly liked this guy. They talked and smoked until almost sunrise. His rose to leave, but to his surprise, Claudelle asked if he would take her home. He said yes, and that day their love was born. They made love in the early morning light. It was so very long ago. She wore pink, he wore blue, and all the world was good and new. She picked flowers in a pretty summer dress. And all the rooms were colorful, and all the vases getting full, and all by chance and all quite by design. Two happier people you will never find. One winter night, Ennis passed away. The wind sang in the treetops, and ice fell from the sky. Claudelle found him at the break of day. She smiled through her tears to see a smile upon his face. Now that was so very long ago. This is how their story goes. Claudelle took the bus from Shreveport to find a new life somewhere in Atlanta. That's where it is now.
Blows me away.
I love it. It's so good.
Oh,
I do like that song. I'll see if I can get Dolph to put it on record.
man, that's a good one. You did have a line in there about she caught his eye, and maybe that's that third eyeball.
Yeah.
But it's
That was beautiful.
it's so visual too. It sounds like a painting. You know, I think you definitely write lyrics like a painter, or maybe really good lyricists do.
No, I
that.
always concentrated on, I wanted to create images with words.
Yeah.
You know, like the Chinese poets, and then some of my favorite Americans like Rethke, James Wright, James Dickey. But yeah, making pictures with words, that's important to me.
You do it well, sir.
Well, thank you.
It's a cool painting though too, Pete.
It sure is.
Thank you.
I mean, look at it. If you had never painted it, that song never would have been written. Just kind of amazing.
That's bizarre.
So do some more.
Two things out of one
Yeah.
moment of inspiration. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I dig it.
All right.
We're proliferating.
Look at us go. Oh man. Thank you so much, David.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this.
Hope to see you here. Hope to see you play it sometime.
Molly, I hope you do too.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Where are
I
you?
live in Greensboro. I'm in Greensboro.
Okay. Where are you, Pete?
I'm in Greensboro as well.
Okay. I used to live there. I don't know. I went to graduate school there. Claudelle and Ennis. Claudelle took the bus from Shreveport, looking for a new life in Atlanta. She met Ennis in the Greyhound station, switching buses in Texarkana. He was just off work from the nursing home. They were both drinking coffee quite alone. She caught his eye and he offered her a smoke. Doesn't seem that it was all that long ago. Claudelle let the next bus pass her by. She realized she truly liked this guy. They talked and smoked until almost sunrise. Ennis rose to leave, but to his surprise, Claudelle asked if he would take her home. He said yes,
And that day their love was born. They made love, then he offered her a smoke. Doesn't seem that it was all that long ago. She wore pink and he wore blue, and all the world was good and new. She picked flowers in a summer dress, and all the rooms were colorful, and all the vases good and full, and all of it by chance, yet by design. Two happier people you will never find. One winter night, Ennis passed away. The wind sang in the treetops, and ice fell from the sky. Claudelle found him at the break of day. She smiled through her tears to see a smile upon his face. Time had passed so quickly since they met, but in her heart there was no regret. Claudelle took the bus from Shreveport, looking for a new life in Atlanta.